Well, hello and welcome back to another edition of the Hiking Journal, Grapevine Mountain via the Pacific Crest Trail. Hey, where's the grapes? Well, I'm just kidding. While no grapes can be found on top of Grapevine Mountain, it's been said that in the canyon bottom below, grapevines were often found by travelers along the old road dating back into the 1920s. Even before that, the local Indians used that route for traveling between the higher elevations near Julian toward Borrego Springs. And in fact, way back in 1961, a flash flood exposed several ancient fire hearths, one down to a depth of 25 feet. Archaeologists excavating the site carbon dated an arrowhead that they found in one of the pits to be over 5,000 years old. Well, in my adventure today, I'm not out looking for grapes or arrowheads, but I am hoping to take in some great views atop this prominent desert peak. Views of Shelter and San Felipe Valleys and Granite Mountain and Whale Peak, as well as other many significant features of Anza Borrego Desert State Park lie ahead of me on this hike. Who says the desert is void of life? On the climb up to the top of Grapevine Mountain, I'll get to pass by a variety of interesting plants, many of which will hopefully be starting to bloom. I also get a chance to scramble up and over a dry waterfall before ascending a steep brush and cactus-covered slope filled with cholla, hedgehog, prickly pear, and barrel cactus. The California barrel cactus seems to be particularly fond of the open sunny slopes up here, and hopefully I'll see a bunch of those up here along the way. These cacti can grow up to 5 feet tall, have long, stiff, and somewhat curved spines, and produce a crown of yellow flowers in the spring. Grapevine Mountain lies on the western edge of Anza Borrego Desert State Park, about 60 miles southeast from my home in Temecula. The drive out past Warner Springs to the Highway S2 turnoff is an easy, peaceful drive, one that I've made many times. As I head south and east through the San Felipe Valley toward Scissor's Crossing, I'll get a good look ahead at Vulcan Mountain to my right and Granite Peak straight ahead. What I'll be looking for is a large raised dirt parking lot about a half a mile before the Scissor's Crossing intersection. Here I'll park and work my way up a use trail to meet the Pacific Crest Trail that heads northbound up into Montezuma Valley. Now remember that one I did a while back ago along the P.C.T? I hiked southbound from Montezuma Valley, past the Billy Goat Cave and the 100-mile P.C.T marker. Once I hook up with the northbound P.C.T, I'll snake my way up the mountain in and out of several drainages, steadily climbing in elevation all the way. I'll also get the chance to see some other common desert plants, including desert agave and other beautiful but thorny plants as well, such as the tall, spindly ocotillo and the shrubby catclaw acacia. Those are the ones with those damn hooked spines that stab at your skin at the slightest touch. And I got a little scar from that one. At about 1.8 miles from the start, from what I've read, the P.C.T swings inward to a major ravine, and a light-colored swath of rock is visible on the left side of the wash. Here I'll leave the P.C.T and climb up into the wash in a northeast direction. From here, it's all bushwhacking to the top. As I climb, I should begin to notice some California junipers beginning to sparsely dot the landscape, identified by their densely layered scaly leaves and equipped with small cones as well as bluish berry-like seed cones. If you're hiking on a warmer day, the shade provided by these trees of the cypress family can be a welcome relief in an otherwise shadeless terrain. Now, did you know that juniper berries are edible? And in fact, a few years ago, I got to try out the new juniper latte at Starbucks. And man, oh man, is it tasty. Well, it was to me at least. But some people don't like it, and they say it reminds them of a mixture of pine sol and grass and dirt. Juniper is also the key ingredient into a distilled spirit with origins dating back to the Middle Ages, and reminds a lot of people of gin. Well, no wonder I liked it. At over 2 miles, the wash opens up and the steeper slope beckons from above. I'll climb through brush and rock following the steepening valley as it makes a slight curve left to the north, and reaches a ridge just left of the saddle at the 3,600-foot contour line, just right of a false summit. At this point, you have traveled about 2.6 miles from the start, even though it may feel like a hell of a lot more. Here is where Grapevine Mountain comes into view for the first time, a half mile further and over 300 feet higher. Traverse below the high point on the left to reach a saddle just southwest of Grapevine's summit. Once at the saddle, follow the spine of the ridge up until it flattens out and reaches the summit at 3.1 miles from the start, at an elevation of 3,955 feet. A summit register can be found nestled among the rocks in a tin can for those wishing to add their names to the log of successful ascents of this peak. For the descent, retrace your steps across the summit plateau and pick up the ridge leading down to the saddle. To the right is a steep drop to Bitter Creek Canyon far below, but take care to keep a southwesterly direction to your left and curve slightly to traverse under the lower false summit once again, and pick up the top of the wash, then begin a cautious descent of this steep slope, as footing is uneven and can be slippery. Yeah, no shit. Soon the canyon walls narrow and the going gets easier. Once beyond that, the P.C.T. is only a short distance away, at which point I turn left and enjoy the views down into San Felipe Valley, and I have to be on the lookout for that use trail back down to the Jeep in that large dirt parking lot. A total round-trip hike of about 6.3 miles from the start. All right, you ready to head east out into Anza Borrego and hike up Grapevine Mountain? Well, good morning and welcome back to the Hiking Journal. Today is going to be an interesting episode. We're heading out to Anza Borrego Desert State Park, and we're going to be going to hopefully the top of Grapevine Mountain along the, I guess it's northbound Pacific Crest Trail. So why this hike is so interesting to me is, number one, I've actually been sort of near there. When I was at Montezuma Valley Road, I actually went southbound on the P.C.T. to the San Felipe Hills overlook a few episodes back, and I can see down into Scissors Crossing and the valley just to the east of Vulcan Mountain. And I'm going to be actually in Scissors Crossing, heading northbound this time along the Pacific Crest Trail, and I should have Grapevine Mountain to my right. And what makes this hike interesting today is there's a storm brewing, and it's a big one. It's going to bring the snow levels down to the lowest levels in at least over a decade. And some areas that don't normally get snow have a good chance of getting snow, and some areas that have never had snow have a good chance. Here comes another Jeep wave. But anyway, yeah, snow level, according to local forecasters, is supposed to get down to 1,000 feet, 1,500 to 1,000 feet. And we are over that at my house, so this ought to be pretty interesting. We have had snow one time, other than hail pockets occasionally, but I mean like righteous snow at my house probably 5-7 years ago, and it was a lot. It was a lot of snow from my house, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm really hoping we get some snow, but I don't want it today because so far the daytime highs are predicted to be in the upper 50s, but the wind's supposed to pick up later, so we'll see. In the meantime, I got to continue driving eastbound on Highway 79, heading out toward Warner Springs, and eventually I'm going to make the turn off to Anza Borrego, take S2 down into just about the intersection of Scissors Crossing, and that's where I'm going to park, and that's where I'm going to start my hike today. That'll all be coming up on this edition of the Journal, Grapevine Mountain via the P.C.T. That'll all be coming up next. I'll catch you in a few minutes. Take care. Well, believe it or not, I've arrived already at Scissors Crossing. There's people parked over on the right, and I don't know if they're just people hiking up the P.C.T. And Scissors Crossing goes to the right here. I'm going to make a U-turn because I'm going to be heading up. I'm going to be parking in a parking area just over here to the right. And I saw a couple. There's a motorhome actually, and a car or two up there. Vulcan Mountain is off to our left. So I don't know if these people are going to be just hiking northbound P.C.T. or they're actually doing the same thing I'm doing today. I guess we'll find out here in a minute. This parking area looks like there's a kiosk of some kind right here. So let's go up here and check this out and see what it says. It says dumping prohibited. Well, we don't have to worry about that. And let's go see what the sign says. This is going to be the P.C.T. parking area. We're going to go park over here. Looks like this must be the most common location to start the trail. Or is it the other end? We don't really know. Well, good morning and welcome back out to the Anza Borrego Desert State Park. Today I'm going to be taking a hike up this way, up to the top of Grapevine Mountain along the northbound Pacific Crest Trail. I'm in a large dirt parking area just off Highway S2. In fact, just over that direction is the main highway that leads up toward Julian and the Vulcan Mountains. And Scissor's Crossing is also right over there. There's one other car at the trailhead here. It really isn't a trailhead per se. There's no signs that says, you know, this is the Pacific Crest Trail or anything, but there's a little cut in the hillside here. The actual official trail is on the other side of the hill here. We're going to be parking here and taking a shortcut up to the top. We're going to be following this up and around. At some point up here, we'll hit the Pacific Crest Trail. We'll be going northbound. Then we're going to work our way over toward Grapevine Mountain. That'll all be coming up in this edition of the Journal before the big storm comes in. And it's windy here today. We'll see how the hike goes. I can see barrel cactus on the hill already. Looks like it might be in for a scenic day. Well, I've gone just a short distance, 100 feet or so from the trail. The trailhead parking area for the P.C.T. is down there to the right. That's a Vulcan Mountain directly in front of me as you're looking to the west and south. And I'm not officially on Pacific Crest Trail yet. I have to work my way up this use trail to get to it. And in fact, I see it right in front of me there. It's a little cut in the side of the hill. So I'll be taking this little use trail right here. You can tell there's no signs, it's pretty obvious. And right now I can actually see the cut as it works its way to the right and up into those hills right there. That'll be the start of the hike. Northbound P.C.T. toward Grapevine Mountain. All right, well, just in the first few minutes up the trail, you can see Scissor's Crossing now. It's down there below the peak. You see cars traveling from left to right, and you can see where they make the turn. Parking area is right down there. And that's down into the San Felipe Valley down that way. But what I wanted to show you was just in this short few minutes up the trail, I've already seen 3 or 4 different types of cactus. In fact, check out this one right here. That's a pretty good sized barrel cactus right there. And there's several more over here, and I can see a ton of them up here up the trail. And there's also some hedgehog cactus over there, some pencil cholla. But looks like they're not quite in bloom, but they're getting there. I have a feeling we're going to see a ton of these today as they work our way up. See a bunch of big crows over there. And I can see the P.C.T. I can see the P.C.T. is right there. All right, well, here's another view overlooking the Scissor's Crossing area and the parking area, and I am officially on the Pacific Crest Trail now. There's no signs or anything, but it's pretty obvious. There's quite the field of large barrel cactus here, and all kinds of things hopefully will come to bloom today on our adventure. Looking forward to this. Here's another huge barrel cactus. And now that you can see that I'm on the Pacific Crest Trail, as it bends around, it works its way across the ridgeline, heading northbound. In the wind. It's going to be windy today. There is some climbing involved in today's hike. About 1,900 feet or so they say. And it's windy. You know, as I'm working my way down the trail here, I ran across some yucca that are actually, looks like they're in bloom. That's an added treat. You don't normally see that too often. Not all of them, a lot of them are dead, but there are some that are alive and doing well here on this slope as we're looking down on Highway S2. In fact, there's our parking lot again. There's the Jeep and Scissor's Crossing over in that direction. Well, I just saw something scurrying into the bushes down there. It looked like maybe the smallest rabbit I've ever seen. This thing was about a little bigger than my fist with a white puffed ball on the end. I don't think it was a cottontail or a brush rabbit. I'm not really sure what that was. I didn't get a picture of him. He darted into the bushes and real fast. So, but I've got some great views already today, and some absolutely phenomenal cactus up here. If you think the desert is devoid of life, that's not so. I saw 2 deer on the way out here. I've seen a whole bunch of different kinds of birds. I saw that rabbit or whatever it was, and I just started. I don't think we're going to see any bighorn sheep up here in this area. It's not out of the realm of possibilities, but they prefer a more steep, rocky environment. But seeing a mule deer, that's a possibility. Especially if this is a trail that's, well, P.C.T. is busy, but once I get off trail, it shouldn't be too bad. The likelihood of running into something is a little higher. So I'm continuing up. Boy, what a field of cactus that is down there. It's a whole field of barrel cactus. That's impressive. And Scissors Crossing's behind me. Parking lot's down below. Well, I had to stop for a minute and take off my my fleece because I was getting too hot hiking up the hill. The incline is kind of starting to kick my metabolism up a little bit, and putting out a little more energy, so I'm starting to heat up a little bit. Had a nice, good, steep grade coming up. It's not too bad. Just saw like an F-22 jet come screaming by here, but the sound is so far behind the actual site. I didn't get my camera out quick enough. All right, well, according to the GPS, I'm at 1.89 miles so far. I don't know if you can see that, those numbers, 1.89. And pretty soon here, I'm going to be taking a departure off the P.C.T. and I'm going to be heading cross country up to the top. In fact, it's coming up any second, according to all trails. I'm going to be shooting my way up to the right. And I can show you one more thing here. Look at the graphic on the peak there. It's pretty intense. There is one section that's going to be especially difficult. Actually looking forward to that. But we do have a great view. That's the back way into Julian over that direction. And it's got a phenomenal view of Vulcan Mountain across the way. One more thing I wanted to mention earlier was I don't really anticipate seeing any snakes today on the trail. It's a little early, but having said that, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Katie's friend Aaron went on a hike to the Crystal Cove State Park day before yesterday, and he took a picture of about a 5-foot rattlesnake crossing the trail as thick as my arm. So, it's been warm over the last several days. This cold front is moving in. This is be about the time that snake could come out and, soak up some of that heat in a wind protected area. So I do have to keep my eyes open for rattlesnakes up here on the trail today. Hopefully, cross my fingers, I won't see any. But in the meantime, I've got a phenomenal view. I wasn't too sure about what to expect on this hike today, but just the cactus and the vegetation alone is phenomenal. You come back here in another 2 weeks and this is stuff's probably 3 weeks, it's going to be in bloom. It's going to be gorgeous up here. I'm going to have to get Dave and Jerry up here. We'll see how bad this scramble is up at the top of Grapevine Mountain, see if it's worth it, but right now I'm enjoying it. Well, it's kind of nice. I've been hiking just for the short distance in this little sort of wind protected wash right here, a little bit of greenery. But according to my All Trails map, the P.C.T. is going to continue, but my side trail is going to veer off and head up somewhere up to the right toward Grapevine Mountain. I'll take this a little bit further up into the little wash here, see what shakes out.
Pretty interesting little recess there among the rocks. I saw this on some of the pictures. This is something you have to kind of work your way up and around. I have pretty good traction on these boots. These are Merrell's. Doesn't look too difficult. Once I get to the top of this wash right here. Well, that was a little tough scramble. I somehow on a turn back there, I missed, not only did I miss the P.C.T turn, I missed the trail that comes up here. And whether I needed to climb that little rocky dry wash or dry fall, I don't know. But I ended up down here in a wash, and I pulled out the AllTrails map, and I could see I was off to the right. And even though it was pretty easy going in the wash, I knew that if I got farther down this way, it gets a little tougher and steeper trying to go to the left, which is where I need to be. So I went cross country. I found a route, picked my way through the cactus, and came up here to this ridge line. Has a view off both sides, and now I'm dead smack on the AllTrails route. And I also ran across this. I don't know if this is a cairn or not. My guess is it probably is. I'm kind of hoping that they have more cairns as I work my way up and to the right. And I know there's a false summit, and then I'm going to work my way to the right. I don't think that is Grapevine Mountain. It's not tall enough, so it's probably on the other side, and you probably can't see it from here. But I do have a great view that way. And I got a good breeze here, so I'm going to take a minute, catch my breath. That was a pretty steep scramble. And then continue on toward the top of Grapevine Mountain. Well, they said there's no trail here, and now I get it, because there really isn't. I'm just kind of basically following the AllTrails map at this point and looking for the most logical routes on the way up there. But I'm still climbing. Well, it looks like I've reached the top of this first hill here, and I have a tremendous view looking off that direction there. But what I'm looking at the most is right there, and according to the AllTrails map, that is Grapevine Mountain. Now, I don't know if this is the false summit. There's another one higher than that behind it. I can't tell, but I know this is probably one of the steeper spots, and it's not really, there's no trail, there's no switchbacks. It's pretty much just to put your head down and dig in and climb. So I'm going to try to stick to the AllTrails route because they've been pretty accurate so far. I did find my way up to the top of this peak that's right behind me here, and it does have a tremendous view, but it's windy up here. We'll see if I can keep my hat on my head. You know, I've been trying to follow the AllTrails route down here, and I've seen a cairn or two, but what is nice is when you see this along the trail. So obviously somebody has been up here, and that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going, right up there. Gotta find my route somewhere. At least right here, it's a little wind protected. It's kind of nice. It's a lot warmer here. But I can't take a break. I gotta keep going. All right, well, you know, as I'm working my way up toward the top of Grapevine Mountain, I kind of noticed something. I thought it was my imagination at first. You know, I see some yucca stalks. Did that just snap in half right there? Or is it pointing towards something? What about this one? Is that just the odds that it's a lane pointing that way? What about these over here? There's one there. There's one to the left. There's this odd one that's shaped into a V. And they all are pointing in this direction, which is generally the route on AllTrails. Is that a coincidence? Or was somebody trying to give me some subtle hints that I'm on the right route? I still haven't seen any cairns in a while. That doesn't mean they're not here. I'm going to have to keep looking for them as I try to find the weakness for Grapevine. All right, this isn't easy. I can see a rock cairn right there and another one up there. This is barely. This last little bit's going to kill me. All right, well, I gotta take a break for a minute or two. The road is way down there, and I've worked my way up and over that hump, that ridge up there, and then down here. And I've pretty much been climbing straight up the side of this mountain. I've been following the Alts Trails app, the tracks, and I've been looking for cairns and footprints, and I'm getting there. It's not easy, that's for sure. I do have an outstanding view. You just got to take the time every now and then to turn around. I got to be happy when I get to the top because I definitely need a break. It's going to be tough going down. This is steep stuff. Well, as much as I would like to say that I'm at the top of Grapevine Mountain, I am not. That was a false summit. And that is Grapevine Mountain in front of me. So, as much as I climbed so far, I used my hands in several places, and I'm tired. I should have brought some energy gels today. I need them right now. Need a good place for a break, but you know, maybe on the other side of this hump, on the way down, there's a flat spot with some boulders. I might be able to take a break there. I have a feeling I'm not going to get a break up there. It's going to be too windy. But I'm getting there. I got to go up and over this ridge, work my way up and to the left, and then that'll be the top of Grapevine Mountain. Well, I came up to the edge of this ridge line. And it's threatening to blow my hat all the way down to Salt Sea if I can see it from up there. And the wind is pretty strong right here. I'm going to say it's 40 plus right here. So I'm going to work my way down to the right side here on the leeward side of this hill as I'm working my way up to Grapevine and see if I can find a spot that's not in the direct wind. But I do have tremendous views at 360 from here. And there's Grapevine right there. Well, I had to stop for a minute and take off my hat. It almost blew off. So now here comes the final push. That's not the top of Grapevine right there. There's one more to the left of that. That's where I'm going. Well, I'm not too far from the top. I'm trying to stay on the leeward side of the ridgeline just because the wind is probably sustained about 30 and gust to 50 or 60. Several times I was literally blown over to the right and I had to sidestep just to stay on my feet. And at one point I actually shoved my right hand out to catch myself. I almost stuck it in a barrel cactus. So I got to be careful up here. Working my way up toward the top. Well, it looks like I made it. It's really windy, as you can imagine, but there's several benchmarks. There's a benchmark right there, plus a cross of some kind, as well as there was another benchmark over here I saw. Here it is. Another benchmark right there. Wow. Well, I'm up here on the peak and I just signed the summit register for today, February 21st, 2023. Up here on the top of Grapevine Mountain. It's a gorgeous clear day, but man, this wind is something else. You know, I wanted to shoot a good video up here. It's just too windy. And it's like the wind. Here's the benchmark right there. Actually, it's over here. You can see it. It says Grapevine Mountain. And I have a phenomenal view, but I got to get off the top. It's too windy. Got to find me a nice spot out of the wind so I can take a break, get some calories in me. Now I got to work my way off the top of this ridge. Well, I'm on the ridge line that separates Grapevine Mountain, which is right behind me where I just was. And this direction is looking off to the north and west. I'm going to work my way along the west maybe. And tell you what, man, it's enough to blow you completely off your feet almost with those gusts. I decided not to make lunch up there. It's just too windy. So I'm going to work my way back down to hopefully the P.C.T. Maybe I'll get lucky and find a little bit of a sheltered spot where I can set up my stove and take a break because I need it. But this wind is ferocious right now. I'm going to work my way over this first peak, which was the false summit. Then it's really steep going down toward P.C.T. And once I get to P.C.T, I'm home free. Oh man, that was one tough section there. I got to take a break, so I'm taking a break. I think this is a juniper. A little. They mentioned there were a little few shady spots. This juniper is 5 feet tall. But I got to admit, it is the only shady portion. Man, this first peak, that false summit, that's brutal. That's extremely difficult. There's no trail. There's hardly any cairns, one or two. You just kind of pick your best route, scramble up, use your hands if you have to. Pick the best line so you don't get stuck by cactus and God knows what else has thorns on it and fuzz and who knows. But man, my legs are tired. My quads are burning right now. And then you got to come down it, and it's even harder. It's quicker, but it's harder. And then I got to work my way through this valley here, and then it looks like I'm going to go up to the left, go up and over another little ridge line, and then drop back down to the P.C.T. So I'm really looking forward to that. I was going to take a break up there. It was just too windy. The wind was like 60 miles an hour, and it was ridiculous. So it was so strong at some points that when you were stepping, and you were only had 1 foot on the ground, the other foot was traveling, it would literally blow you over, and you would have to like short step that stride and move over just to catch your bow. I almost fell into cactus like 3 or 4 times. So I kind of learned to stay on the lee side of the rocks as best as possible, and it helps somewhat, but when you're the tallest thing on that ridge line and that wind is 60 miles an hour, you know, it's almost hurricane force winds at that point. And there might have been some gusts that were higher than that, I don't know. So anyway, but I got up there, signed in on the register. Somebody was here a couple days ago. Today's the 21st. Somebody signed in on the 19th, so just a few days ago. And God bless them, man, because that's a hard hike. You know, the first section up to here, piece of cake. This last part, you earn your money, man. You earn your money. Not a lot of people come to Grapevine Mountain, and I know part of it is the remoteness of it, and there's no real, you know, other than the view of the Salton Sea and all of, you know, Vulcan Mountain and all of the San Felipe Hills and all that. It does have a tremendous view, but there's no real big payoff other than the view. There's nothing really to see at the summit. There's that little cross thing. I don't even know what that is. And that's it. There is 3 benchmarks. I don't know why there's 3 benchmarks so close. And I did see 2 hawks that were circling at one point before I got up there. And that was about it. I haven't seen any wildlife since that rabbit. So maybe it's just too windy. They're all hunkered down. Well, in the meantime, I got to finish my Built Bar and finish my hydration and get back down to the P.C.T. Finish this thing. Well, if you're looking for a trail, there's not one. If you're lucky, every now and then you'll spot a cairn. You just have to keep your eye out. Check your All Trails app literally every minute or so. Just like I'm reaching the top of this little plateau. I'll check All Trails here in a minute. I can see the P.C.T. down there. I don't see any cairns up here. I came up, remember I did some cross-country stuff to get up here, so I'm trying to go back the actual real route. But who knows what that actually is. So I got a good viewpoint from here. Oh, look at that. And you can see my trail. That's the P.C.T. down there. I want to check All Trails. Here's a There's a yucca in bloom, starting to bloom. So I'm gonna have to get on the All Trails app and see how the hell I get over there. I probably gotta go that way, that's my guess. You know, last time when I was coming up this way, you know, I was heading down the P.C.T. In fact, P.C.T. is right there. You can see it coming down along the corner here as it works its way down into this wash. And just about 100 yards down on the right is that dry waterfall that I climbed up, and I climbed up onto the top of that ridge. But what I didn't see is the P.C.T. turnoff, and looks like that's it right there. It looks like this would be a great spot for a sign. I do have one little rock cairn, but I don't know. I think this part needs a sign, I think. But I'm going this way. I'm going downhill all the way back to the car. Easy peasy. Well, I have to admit, this is one of the harder hikes I've done. I don't think I'm going to be doing this one again. You know, I can check this one off my bucket list. You know, the P.C.T. section is pretty good, but that last scramble is rough. And I've never had a windier hike. I can see the car down here. I haven't lost my hat yet, because I've noticed that anything that's a north and west orientation on the trail is 30 miles an hour. And you definitely got to hang on to your hat. Parking lot's down here to my right, and you can see dust and dirt blowing across. And I'm not too far. I do have to keep my eye open, but you can see the trail. I was told that a lot of people miss this used trail going back to the car, but it looks pretty obvious to me. So P.C.T. continues south, and about not even a quarter mile, it runs into Scissors Crossing. So anyway, looks like I'm going to make it alive and with my hat. You know, I don't think I've ever earned a beer as much as I did today. This was a tough hike. I looked at the GPS when I got back, and it was 7.39 miles round trip. And that's from the parking lot here at just north of Scissors Crossing, up to the top of Grapevine Mountain and then back. And about half of that is a scramble. So it's clawing your way up, digging your toes in the scree and rocks and sand, and hanging on to boulders with your bare hands, and slipping and sliding and almost falling into cactus. And then on top of that, you've got sustained 15, 20 mile an hour winds, and gusts of up to, I don't know, 60 or so. It's ridiculous. So I'm just glad to kind of get this one over with. At least I got to sign in. And anyway, I got this one done. So I won't be doing anything for a while. Believe it or not, I had jury duty today, and my jury pool was put on standby. So I have to check tonight when I get home to see if I have to go in tomorrow. So that'll be interesting. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you down the road. Alrighty, take care. Bye-bye. Well, I made it up the top of Grapevine Mountain. I'm just pulling out of the parking lot here onto Highway S2 as I'm heading back up toward Warner Springs. And boy, what an adventure it was today. You know, the P.C.T. part of it was great. It was pretty much an easy hike. It was meandering hills. You know, there were some uphills. It was a little rocky in spots, but, you know, not too bad. Typical P.C.T. trek. And that part was great. But to tell you what, though, once I veered off the P.C.T. and I had to go up that first little peak, you know, that was a little rocky. And, you know, of course, and I also had to do that little dry waterfall. And that section right after the dry waterfall, that was really steep. It was short, but it was steep. Once I got on top of the little knoll, I had to go up across a little valley and up to another peak. And that was pretty steep. You catching the theme here? And then after that, I had to drop down into a third valley. And then from there was a large peak. And believe it or not, that wasn't the Grapevine Mountain. That was the false summit. But the northwest facing slope, which is the direction you're coming up, is really steep. And there's sections you got to use your hands. There's no trail. I did find a couple of cairns, 2 or 3 cairns, and maybe some yucca stalks laid sort of in the direction the trail goes, but there's no guarantee on that. And once I got up along that ridge line, it steepened even more. And then the wind hit. And man, that wind was sustained 25, 30 miles an hour in a gust of 50 or 60. I've never had wind that high. I've even been on the top of Baden Powell and instead of winds, it was 60 miles an hour. I honestly think it was higher than that at times in gusts up here on the top of that final ridge line. Then, of course, the actual summit of Grapevine Mountain, that part wasn't as bad as the false summit. It was still steep and it was still rocky, but the worst part was the wind. The wind was 40 sustained every second, and gusts to 60, maybe even 70, 75, 80, who knows. But once I got to the top, there was really nothing you could do. I mean, just standing in one spot, that was like a miracle because you were literally getting blown over. I did find a spot where I could kind of sit down on the edge right below the summit, sign in, register can, and I was able to put my back to the wind and sign in, and then put that can right back in the rock where it came from, and I scooted off the summit back down that ridge line because it wasn't going to happen. I wasn't going to be able to make a lunch in there. Anyway, I made it back down, and even though it was just as tougher coming down, it's a little easier because it's downhill and not uphill. And then once I got back onto the P.C.T, I was cold. So, but anyway, it was a good hike. It was a tough hike. It was about 7.3 or something like that round trip, and I was an out and back. And will I do it again? It's going to have to be a while. And it's definitely going to be in the cool winter months because you're not going to want to do this in the summer months. And to be honest, if you know it's going to be this windy, I wouldn't go back if it's this windy again. So, but anyway, it was a good day. I didn't get to have lunch, so I got to eat my snacks in the car. I've got them in my little ice chest over here beside me on the seat. And we're going to be having tacos tonight for dinner, so it actually sounds pretty good to me. So anyway, I'll catch up with you in the next edition of the Hiking Journal. Hope you enjoyed this one. The hike up to Grapevine Mountain in Anza Borrego Desert State Park. Alrighty, take care. I'll see you on the trail. Bye-bye.
Well, thanks for watching another edition of the Hiking Journal, my solo adventure into Anza Borrego Desert State Park, and my hike along the northbound Pacific Crest Trail and my off-trail scramble to the top of Grapevine Mountain. If you have any questions or comments about this or any other edition of the Hiking Journal, drop me a note in the comments section below. Also, don't forget to click the like and subscribe button and tap that notification bell to get the latest updates to the channel as I post them. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you down the trail. Bye-bye.